and headed north. The Klondike Gold Rush was on. If you wanted to travel through Canada to get to the Klondike, the Canadian government required you have plenty of food, warm clothes, and supplies. Well, Seattle business people smelled an opportunity. They even hired a marketing specialist to tell the world that the gold was in Alaska, but the supplies were in Seattle. It worked. Over 100,000 people from all over the world came straight to Seattle for provisions before heading north to seek fortune. Did the miners get rich? Yeah, not many, but Seattle did. The gold rush turned Seattle from a small logging town to a major city almost overnight, and Seattle never looked back. By the way, Seattle has a new gold rush going on right now. We'll talk about that later. That sound means it's time for a fun fact. One of the gold miners was a 17-year-old boy from Sweden. He didn't speak English, and he arrived in Seattle broke. He did well in the gold fields and returned to Seattle with $13,000. What did he do with his money? He opened a shoe store. His name was John W. Nordstrom. The flagship Nordstrom store is still in downtown Seattle. This is a view of the Seattle skyline you can only get from the water. Now, one building may stand out a bit. Do you see the tall, black, shiny building? That's Columbia Center, the tallest building in the state of Washington. And it's 76 stories, 937 feet tall, and it was built in 1985. Here's a Salish Sea Tours travel tip. The Columbia Center observation deck is on the 73rd floor. If you have a fear of heights, it's the perfect place to go to get terrified. You'll be 902 feet over downtown, and on a clear day, you can see for 100 miles in every direction. More down to earth is Coleman Dock, part of the Washington State ferry system. The largest ferry operator in the U.S., with 23 ferries carrying over 24 million passengers in a typical year. The largest ferries can carry 2,500 passengers and over 200 cars. Now back on land, you'll see a short, older white building with a pyramid-shaped top. That's Smith Tower. It's only 38 stories, but from 1914 to 1938, it was the tallest building west of the Mississippi River. In fact, it was the tallest building in Seattle until the Space Needle was built in 1962. Fun fact, Smith Tower was named after its original owner, Lyman Smith. He's the Smith from Smith Corona typewriters. By the way, Smith Tower is located in the heart of historic Pioneer Square, the original downtown Seattle. It was a lot like old western towns in the movies, with wooden buildings, wood sidewalks, even the water pipes were made of wood. On June 6, 1889, a carpenter was heating glue in a bucket. He got distracted and walked away for a moment. And you probably already guessed where we're going with this. Yep, the Great Seattle Fire. In less than a day, the entire downtown of Seattle was burned to the ground without rebuilding. So the city decided to rebuild downtown by restoring to this day, it's one of the largest collections of evidence related architecture. And it was all finished just in time to sell food and supplies to all workers. Fun fact, the term skid row started in Pioneer Square. Loggers cut trees on the hilltop and skidded the logs down the street to a lumber mill.